not stepped foot in a luxury boutique in over 2 years until the summer when my husband and I finally had our mini European getaway and we had a blast. I had forgotten how much fun it is to shop in person, as well as how much money you save because, guys, multiple dream bags had been booted off my wish list just because I took the time to see them in person, to touch them, to try them on, to put my things inside of them, and bags that I was willing to blindly pay thousands of dollars for online, like, totally missed the mark. On top of that, there are now other bags that have made their way onto my radar, ones that I have glossed over in the past. So stay tuned, especially if you are a big online or pre-loved shopper like I am, or was. Welcome back to A Briefcase of Luxury, where we love to chat about all things related to life, learning, and luxury. While I have no intentions of quitting my day job as a business professor, I would love to continue to grow this channel. So to those of you who have subscribed, liked, commented, or shared my videos, thank you so much. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. In case you missed my Europe haul, I will link it down below, but in terms of bags, I picked up an Hermes Evelyn TPM in Vert Vertigo with gold hardware, the Cartier Panther Graphique mini bag, and this one is probably the least known, but I feel like I need to make this brand happen in whatever small corner of the YouTube luxury community, and it is the mini swan bag from Randers. So Randers is again a royally appointed Danish glove making company with roots dating all the way back to the 1200s. So talk about a luxury heritage. I would love to add another in a larger size just because I'm so smitten with their leather, and their winter swan collection, dead. Just take my money. I've never wanted a fluffy bag until I saw that bag. Now, on that note, I definitely didn't plan to buy 3 bags this summer. Oops, actually, let's just make that 5. Let's go ahead and count my 2 Celine sunglass crossbody pouches because I did primarily buy them for the pouches and not what came inside. Judge all y'all want. I'm just being transparent. But let's talk about the other bags that I set out to try on and where did it all go wrong. Start with a non-designer bag, and this was a total shocker in terms of how much of a fail it turned out to be. So it's no secret that I love the Uniqlo round shoulder bag. I have 3 myself, and they are honestly the easiest bags to use. So of course, I've been drooling over the crochet versions because while the world has lost its mind over raffia and wicker designer bags, I just can't justify paying designer prices for natural fibers like wicker and raffia, especially when we know like true artisans are making these pieces at a fraction of what you'll pay at a brand like Louis Vuitton, like for their raffia Nano Speedy, for instance, which is ironic because those are made by Madagascan artisans. And on that note, we did pop into Louis Vuitton, even though there wasn't anything I wanted to look at in particular. I did play around with the raffia Speedy. Now, the one bag that surprised me was the Speedy BB. Not the summer one, but like just the regular ones. Like those surprisingly looked really flattering on my body. I also did try on the Palm Springs Mini and the Mini Montessori. I don't know what I was thinking, but I looked like an overgrown kid. Moral of the story is you just have to try bags on your own frame. Just because it works on someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And just because the bag doesn't look good on someone else doesn't mean it won't look good on you. Like the Speedy BB. Never once thought it would look good on me. Now, but back to Uniqlo. I finally convinced myself that I would be okay forking out $30 for the crochet bag. So I went to the store, found the bag, got in line to check out. I picked out the one that was slightly darker in color since I do have the same bag in the color bone. Now, thankfully, there was a line of about 3 or 4 people in front of me, and that gave me time to look over the product tag. And that was when I noticed that thing was made out of 100% paper. Like seriously, paper. Paper's not the same as raffia. Paper's paper. And because it was made out of woven paper, essentially, you cannot get the bag wet. You cannot expose it to the sun. I mean, when am I supposed to use it if it's meant to be a summer bag? But hand crocheted or not, I just couldn't in good conscience pay 30 euros for a paper bag, which honestly, I was a little bummed about. I had never expected that to be the reason for why I didn't buy the Uniqlo crochet bag. The next 2 are going to be quick because I went to 2 Bottega stores and neither of them had any of the bags I wanted to look at, which were the vanity case bag and the medium dust bag. I did, however, got to try on the mini hop bag, and it was underwhelming to say the least. It just made more sense in a larger size. Same with Balenciaga. I went in wanting to try on the Rodeo bag, but they did not have any in stock. Let's also talk about Alaia. I am, of course, referring to the very viral Lateco bag. I get it. There's something super chic about taking that east-west silhouette and just stretching it to its extreme. So when I saw it, of course, I had to try it on. And if the proportions looked off on the bag, that's because they really are. Like, even just picking up the bag was a discombobulating experience because there was no center of gravity. I think that if they really wanted to keep that elongated pencil case look, they should have just shrunk the shoulder drop just by a couple of inches. But with its current proportions, it looked silly, not chic. On me at least. Like, it looked so bad, I was embarrassed for myself for even trying it on in public in front of other human beings. Like, that being said, I am crushing pretty hard on the East-West style. Like, think your vintage shoulder Kellys or Birkins or the Constance Elan or the Chanel Surf Tote. And let's not forget the Fendi Peekaboo Stretch. Yeah, these are all bags that I'm currently tracking on the pre-loved market. Now, speaking of Fendi, I wanted to see if they had the mini baguette in Galusha. And while they did not, they did have a stunning ICU Peekaboo in black Galusha. Now, if I were, say, to come across that bag pre-loved for a good deal, I would most definitely have considered it. However, my goodness, as if the ICU style wasn't structured enough, the Galusha material just made it even more so. Like, it's one of those bags that are really pretty to look at, but not so easy to use, you know? I did also play around with other variations of the mini peekaboo, and again, touching them only solidified my concerns. Like, that style was never meant to be shrunk down. So I stand by my earlier statement that if you want a true peekaboo experience, you gotta go for at least the medium size and up. I didn't get footage, but the sales associate was kind enough to let me put my things in it. And y'all, that buckle, you really have to be careful not to scratch up your wallet or your own hand for that matter. So it did make me feel a little better knowing that as much as I think the mini peekaboo is beautiful, we're just not going to get along. Instead, the midi baguette was what took me by surprise. So when I said no to the mini peekaboo, the sales associate was like, you should try the baguette. And I was like, nah, that's never a bag that I've been interested in unless it's a mini in Galusha. Nevertheless, she pulled out the regular baguette for me to try on, and she also decided that it didn't quite suit my frame. So while she didn't have one out on the floor, she went to the back and pulled out the midi size with the chain strap. And she was like, try this on instead. I think it will look better on you. And when I put it on, I'm telling you guys, I did not want to take that bag off. I think if my husband didn't leave the store empty-handed, then there's no guarantee that I wouldn't have a midi baguette now in my collection. I just couldn't believe how a bag that I've never paid attention to would blow me away like that. All because I was convinced by someone else to try it on. And I have forgotten what that felt like, to try on a bag in store and just to be like, oh yeah, this is a perfect fit. Because when I shop online, even pre-loved, unless there is something terribly wrong with the bag or something wasn't properly disclosed, my tendency is not to return it. I'll just make it work or convince myself that it works. And while my collection currently remains baguette-less, the Cartier bag that I did purchase, I had that same visceral reaction when I tried that on. Now, I did mention I did not go into Cartier with the intentions of walking out with the Panthère bag. If anything, the C de Cartier shoulder bag was what I wanted more. That is until I saw it in person. I do apologize for not having a ton of in-store footage. And on a side note, power to all of you out there who aren't shy about filming in public. Even when I did get permission to film or to take photos, I just still felt super awkward doing that. But yes, they did have the tan one in store, the one that I'd just been drooling over. However, I was scared to even just touch it, like honestly. I didn't want to pry it open to look inside just because the flap was so incredibly stiff and I didn't want to be the one to put creases into the flap. And also its capacity was surprisingly small for its size, just because of how the gussets were constructed. But the Panthère graphique bag, kind of like with the mini baguette, it just felt right. And I can only say no to so many bags that feel so right. Now, prior to buying the Panthère bag, the goal was to head back to Chanel because we stopped by earlier and I did try on a bunch of bags. Also, my husband and I were the only ones in there, which I remember back even like 2 years ago. We skipped on Chanel so many times just because we're not the type of people to stand in line. So yeah, we were able to just waltz right in, and I got to try on all sorts of bags. So surprisingly, trying on the Maxi 19 made it a solid no for me. Only because, yes, while it can fit my laptop, the bag would not be the same with it in it. I don't think the chain straps would take kindly to all that weight, and it really is in your face, like in the maxi size. Like, all you see is the Chanel CC logo on this big puffy bag. I did also get to try on some Kelly bags and 31 shopper totes, and the Kelly bag was nice, but it just seemed like it would be a hassle to use. The flap just seems to be slightly bigger than the handle drop, but the shopper tote in the small and the medium sizes, like those were actually quite nice. They just didn't have any in a non-fluorescent color. Finally, I tried on several beautiful mini flaps, and there was one with a top handle in this stunning like cornflower blue. Even my husband was like, if you're gonna get a Chanel bag today, that would be the one. Plus, the sales associate did the math, and after the VAT refund, the bag would have been in like the 4,000 US dollar range. And I just never went back for it because I got the Cartier bag instead. And now this bag has got me thinking, do I even still want a mini flap? We did also go to Dior, and I did get to try on the mini book tote in leather, and it actually looked quite good on me as a crossbody bag. However, the opening felt more exposed than like the canvas one. So yeah, it's easy access, I guess, but not just for you, for everyone else around you. Also, I did try on 3 different sizes of the Lady Dior, and kind of like the Galusha Peekaboo, I think this is a bag that just looks prettier on a shelf than worn. Like, it just didn't look right on me, and they were heavy. It's not like I've never tried on a Lady Dior before, but it's been over 2 years, and I just don't recall them being so heavy. And it may have also just been that I had just tried on the midi baguette a few minutes before, which was a lot lighter and fuss-free. But y'all, another one that took me by surprise was the Rodeo saddle pouch. It really looked quite organic because there's nothing boxy about it. There's no sharp angles jutting out, so that was unexpected. Now, while we were at Celine, I had to try on the 16 bag. Like, there's no denying that it is gorgeous and sophisticated. Even my husband actually said he liked those almost as much as the Hermes Kelly, and that's high praise coming from him. So while it's not a bag I'm in a hurry to add, it was a bag I never thought I would add that I'm now like, you know what, I get it. Last but not least, we went to Prada, and yes, I tried to ask for the medium leather handbag, and I just got a blank stare from the store manager. I looked and felt like an idiot. In hindsight, I should have taken a snapshot of the product code, but I did get to try on Prada's version of the Margot bag, and I gotta admit, Prada's version was actually quite beautiful. Now, an older bag that I had paid no mind to was the Clio bag, but they had this baby version in their signature brushed leather, and it was stunning, like both on the shelf and even more so when worn. I've been such a big proponent of buying pre-loved ever since I bought my first pre-loved bag a few years back, which was my Birkin 35 from Fashion File. And at that point, I had never held a Birkin 35 in my life, so that was a lot of money to drop on a bag purely based on hearsay and online reviews. But for better or for worse, that purchase worked out, and it has completely changed my mind about buying pre-loved online. And there's been no going back. Now, it's been a long time since I've bought any new bags from store. Like, I think my last store purchase may have been the Evelyn PM back in 2022. And I've been perfectly content not only shopping pre-loved, but online. And I've gotten so comfortable with that I've forgotten how important and how beneficial it can be to see something in person, especially what in my head is a dream bag. Plus, with a lot of pre-loved sites now, you don't have the liberty to just buy the bag, try it on at home, and return it if it just doesn't work out. So you really are taking a big risk. And so maybe it is worth popping into a boutique before pulling the trigger. And it's not just about the bag itself. It's about the bag in relation to you. Just because the bag looks good on someone else doesn't mean it's going to look good on you, even if you guys are the same height and size. You know, like how a crossbody bag looks on someone also depends on their chest size or their torso length, you know? And on the flip side, bags that you may never have considered, bags that on the shelf you're just kind of like, wow, pass, you may surprise yourself by giving them a chance. So are you team online or team in store? Or are you team new or pre-loved, and why? And have you experienced what I did in terms of dream bags not working out and non-dream bags that you are now dreaming about? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll catch up with you next time.